Yo, what up YouTube? Crash Wilcox, and I got a nice video for you guys here today. At least I think it's nice. So as you can see from the title, we're going to talk about what you need or sort of how to get prepared for your first PC build. So, there's a lot of videos that you can go to online that tell you how to build a computer, how to put the pieces together and what parts to pick for this budget range and what parts for that budget range, Intel, AMD, all that sort of stuff. But very few that actually tell you how to get yourself ready for a build. So, this is kind of designed for the person that maybe you have been a console player your whole life and you're deciding to make the swap over to a PC, or maybe you've just had pre-built PCs forever. You buy them at the store and you haven't really gone through the process of putting one together yourself. So that's kind of who this is geared at. And we're going to break this down in a few different steps. We're going to go through sort of how you put your list together, so the actual parts list, what you use to do that. Then we're going to go into sort of the tools that you need to put the computer together, sort of the programs that you will need once your computer's up and running, and then we'll end it with some long-term care once you've had the computer and sort of keeping it running. So that's the way the video is going to be structured. I hope you guys enjoy it. Please, before we dive in, take a second to like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll have links throughout this video to some of my other videos that, touch on some of this stuff a little more deeply. But with that being said, let's jump into the computer and start running through this. All right, so you've made the decision. You're going to get into the PC game and you decided, you know what, I'm a man. I can do this myself. I don't need Alienware building my computer for me. I can do this. And I applaud you. So here we go, jumping in. What you need to get your computer put together, your parts list. Now the first and foremost, probably the main website that most PC enthusiasts or builders go to is going to be PCPartPicker.com. This is the most widely used, I would imagine. And it's very simple to use, very intuitive once you kind of delve into it. You can see here, it's got System Builder to kind of guide you through. It's got build guides, just giving you ideas, completed builds, what other people have done. But really what you want is to come over here to Browse Products, especially if you're new. You come here for the first time, go to Browse Products, and you're going to see this screen. And then you're just going to start going through, picking your stuff. It's always a good idea to start with CPU because that's the backbone of the computer. So you're going to click on this. And the cool thing about PC Part Picker is just the simple layout and kind of the user-friendly, newbie-friendly kind of way that it instructs you into building a computer. So come down through here and it's going to give you a list of all the CPUs because that's what we clicked on. Has a nice filter on the side here so you can decide, hey, I don't want AMD. I want Intel. You can see some of these are blacked out because I think I have other stuff on this list already. Let's see what other kind of nonsense we threw up here for some build that'll never get built. Oh, okay, yeah. So just get rid of those. And again, you just click X here. But this is kind of the screen that you'll become very familiar with when you're editing your PC. It's sort of an outline of all the parts that you can put into a computer. Again, you don't need all of these, but it just gives you an idea, like, unless you desperately want an optical drive in 2020. But if you do, PC Part Picker's got you. So you can, like I said, you'll be picking your CPU, and it's got that really nice filter feature over here. You want AMD, you want Intel. So let's just say we're going to go Intel, and, I am stuck in the past. So I'm going to go with an i9-9900K because I just can't let go of that super sweet box that it ships in. So it's going to list it right here on your outline. And then the cool thing is it's going to start building up an estimated wattage, which again makes this very simple when it comes to selecting a power supply. Your power supply should be higher than your estimated wattage. So then you start going down, and cool thing, and I don't know if this is a feature that I selected on here, I have to see, but it basically only gives you compatible parts on here, which makes your life very simple. So again, let's say I'm stuck in the past and I don't do my homework, so I'm going to pick this B360 motherboard to go with my 9900K. And then you can see that you get this nice little red bar up here, warning, they have incompatibility issues. So this is making your life easy. You can see, oh crap, I picked some parts, doesn't seem to be working out just right. Let's go see what the problem is. So you scroll down to the bottom, and then it has these warnings pop up for you. And then right here, 9900K doesn't come with a stock cooler, so you'll need to add one. Okay, we'll get to that. But then it also gives you this warning that some B360 chipsets may need a BIOS update before you can use a 9900K. So it'll kind of give you warnings and guide you through here. So if you're building this, you see these pop up, you can change out your components until you see all green up here, or you're okay with the red. It doesn't mean anything to you. You know, maybe you already have a CPU cooler from your buddy and that's why, you know, you don't need it. So PC Part Picker, super easy to use. Once you start building this list out, you can save your lists. And then once you have some saved lists, you can come up here and see them all listed over here really easily. You know, this is one, hey, I just built it, let's see what it costs. And then you can come in here and edit it, all that sort of stuff. So if you are just building, I recommend you kind of throw up a couple of ideas, that sort of thing. Makes your life easy. And then inside of here as well, when you click on these parts, it'll kind of give you the best pricing from kind of the major manufacturers that you're going to be buying from. And then you can scroll down through here. It'll give you reviews, which is nice to see. And then all the way down at the bottom, typically if they have any, they'll show you builds from other people that use those same components. So makes it nice, super easy, very informative. You can see over here, it tells you basically the whole breakdown of that part. But PC Part Picker should be your first stop when you're looking for parts. But it's not the only one. So you can also come over here. This is another place, buildmypc.net. It's basically PC Part Picker. So if you just like the layout of this better, then by all means use this. But same thing, they have System Builder. They've got pre-built guides, just like PC Part Picker. But really what you're going to want, create now. And then this is going to do basically the exact same thing. So you can see same sort of outline that PC Part Picker had. I've already thrown that 9900K up here because I don't know what's good for me. And now again, you can come down here, select on motherboards, and it's going to do the same thing, give you a list of your compatible motherboards. So really simple to use. The same sort of compatibility bar up here. If you run into issues, you can pay attention to that. And then also a product link here. So you can go straight to the website and buy it from here. Then the last one we're going to touch on, and these are just 3 of many. And I mean, you can go to NZXT, EVGA, whatever it happens to be, and they have their little build guide, type things as well. But we'll come to Newegg. So if you come to Newegg, and they have a build a PC right here on the homepage, just click on that. And what's great about Newegg is this is a website that you will most likely be buying a lot of your parts from. So rather than using PC Part Picker and having to go to an external website to buy the parts, you can come to Newegg and build your computer on the website and buy your parts on the website. So if you can't bear to waste that extra 2 seconds it takes to click to a different website, just come to Newegg and do it all here. So same thing, there's your outline. Click your components. I'm a sucker, a glutton for punishment, so I'll get that i9 9900K. And then, it's going to be much the same. You're going to come over here and it's going to give you a list of just your compatible motherboards, and then you can select whatever you want. So this is going to be sort of the first tool in your arsenal for building a PC, is where do I go to get my parts list and make sure that I have everything that I need and it's compatible. Because if you don't have something like this, or you just think you are smart enough and you wing it and you wind up with a i9 9900K and a X470 AM4 motherboard, you're going to be pissed at yourself. So take some time, build a couple of lists. It's fun anyways, and come up with a good product that you're ready to go with. So there you have it. That's how you're going to build your list. So now we've built the list and everything has arrived So we got all of our parts, at the crib, and we're ready to start building. So now we're going to dive into the tools section, what you need to put this computer together. So for the first thing that you need, I will let the greatest PC building video of all time instruct you on the first thing that you need.
So what do you need to build a desktop? Well, of course, first you need a table.
Oh, the verge. And that's incorrect. You don't need a table. Sure, you can build on a table. It's a fine idea to build on a table. But you can build on the floor. You can build, on your fridge, on the stairs. I don't care. Build on your roof if you want to. But a table is recommended. So just going to run through kind of, like I said, what you need to kind of get a build together. Let me pull up my little listing here to make sure I don't miss anything. All right, so yep, we got our table here, and you can see I have a rubber mat, like a anti-static mat on mine. You don't need anything like this. Like I said, I've built on hardwood floors, built on carpet, the whole anti-static thing, probably a bit overblown. I wouldn't sweat it a ton, but if you have, an extra $40 that you don't know what to do with, I will have a link to this down in the description on Amazon. Go ahead and buy it. It'll support the channel. You'll have a cool mat, and we'll all be happy. So there you go. With that being said, let's get into these tools. So first thing that you're going to need is some screwdrivers. So I have a couple of different screwdrivers here that I use. Obviously, number one that you're going to need is a Phillips head. And highly, highly, highly recommend you buy something with a magnetic tip on it. Dropping these tiny screws into a PC case can really ruin your build, really ruin your day. So highly recommend you get a screwdriver with magnetic heads on them. And then your choice of screwdriver is completely up to you. So you can see I have one here. The tip is interchangeable. So I got Phillips head, flat head, a couple other ones in here. And just a nice little simple cheap screwdriver. You can see I got here something that's a little bit smaller, just because you may have, M.2 screws, whatever happens to be a little bit smaller screw. But that'll work well for the smaller stuff. Or you can just go and buy something like this. This is just kind of an all-in-one little toolkit. And I will have some of these listed down in the comments below, so you can see right here. I have on Amazon, and they have more expensive ones. The iFixit toolkits are great. If you're going to buy something like that, maybe go to go buy it on Amazon, or you can check out Gamers Nexus. They have their toolkits. Support a fellow, not really a fellow. He's not a peer. He's far superior in YouTube content, but he's a YouTuber. Go support Gamers Nexus. Or if you want to save some money and get something that works well, here I have one that I'll link down below. A Royce screwdriver kit. So you can see 119, piece kit. But the big thing, it's magnetic. It's small, because a lot of times even a screwdriver this big can be difficult to get into certain cases. If you're working in a mini ITX build, which I don't recommend for your first build. But if that's what you happen to go with, this can be a little bit big. Something like this works a lot easier. Something like this works a lot easier inside of there. So you can get a kit like this that comes with everything that you need all in one nice convenient package, or you can just sort of piecemeal it together however you want. But you need screwdrivers, and I highly, highly recommend magnetic tip screwdrivers. So that's that. Next thing, I didn't take a note down for, but I figure I would, since I have it here. You don't necessarily need it, but something like a razor blade to, it sounds stupid, but you got to open your packages somehow. And, you don't need a razor blade, a little knife, whatever happens to be your disgusting unclipped fingernail, sure. But get something like this. It makes your life easier. Again, what else do we have? We will go with, we'll go with this first. So a magnetic tray. This, again, is not a necessity, but this is super handy to have. I mean, when you're building a computer, you're going to have a lot of screws, a lot of different sizes for a lot of different components. And if you just have them all scattered out around your table or your stairs, because that's where you decided to build on, it's going to get confusing and you're going to mix your screws up and it's going to make your life a little more difficult. So if you just got a nice little magnetic tray, you can take your screws out. So, say these 4 are for the power supply. There they go. They're all sitting nice and neat together. These 4 are going to be for, the CPU cooler. There they go. They're easy. They're out of the way. You're not knocking them off the table, whatever happens to be. Very, very nice thing to have as a magnetic tray. And if you get something like this Royce screwdriver kit here, you can see down here, it has a little magnetic pad. It's not a tray like that, but again, rather than piecemealing everything together, 20 some bucks and you can have all that in one package. So whatever you do, I recommend it. It makes your life easier, keeps everything. It's going to be a crap show anyways when you start building your computer, parts and zip ties and plastic everywhere. So if you can keep your screws in a nice, neat little place, it makes your life easier. Next up, we will go with thermal grease or thermal paste, whatever you want to call it. So I have some listed on here. I put on my cart. If you want to go for, high-end, really nice thermal paste, I would recommend probably my favorite thermal paste I've ever used, Noctua NTH1. Noctua, really, if they make it, buy it. It's awesome. Their thermal paste is no different, and it's relatively cheap. $7.98 basically for some thermal paste is great. But you don't need to go that route. Really, thermal paste, there is some is better than others, but none of them are really all that bad. So other options that you have, so you can see right here, I have this bought for roughly the same amount of money. It's, I think it was like $8. And this is 20 ounces of thermal paste, whereas this Noctua is 20 grams, 20 grams of thermal paste, whereas the Noctua is 3.5 grams. So you may get, 4 or 5 applications out of the Noctua thermal paste. This one, you may get 20 to 25 uses out of it. And the difference in cooling potential is not going to be all that great between the two. So that's an option. They also have options like this. So for roughly the same amount of money, $5 to $7, I bought 10 individual sticks of thermal paste. And the reason I do this is because I sell some computers as well. So when I sell a computer, I'll just take one of these, drop it in the box or whatever, because I take the CPU coolers off most of the times. And that way the customer can have their own thermal paste to put on there. And that makes life easier. And these are not necessities, additional thermal paste. Your computer, generally, whatever part you buy, will either come with thermal paste pre-applied, or if you buy your stuff new, it'll come pre-applied, or it will come with a small thermal paste in the box, whatever happens to be a small little tube. Why I would recommend buying additional thermal paste to have on hand is in case you do something wrong. Whatever happens to be, you put your stuff together and it's not working right, you're troubleshooting and you're having to take your CPU cooler off. And if you only have the thermal paste that was pre-applied and you have nothing else left, now you're screwed. So for $8, if you're building a $1,000 computer, find a way to squeeze out $8 to $10 and get something, whether it's Noctua or just anything. Have something on hand in case you make a mistake and you need to reapply. It makes your life easier when, because nothing's worse than having a computer. I can tell you from experience, all your stuff here except for like one critical component, and you're waiting for like 2 days because Amazon's 2-day shipping really isn't 2-day shipping. And, you're just hanging out, longing to play, whatever happens to be. So get some, have it on hand. It'll help you out. And then to go with thermal paste, I recommend just go to the store, buy some cheap rubbing alcohol and some cheap cotton swabs. I use these little cotton round things. They just are easier to handle. But if you're going to be cleaning thermal paste off your CPU and your CPU cooler, all you don't need anything fancy, wipes. Just get some cheap isopropyl alcohol and some cotton swabs, some cotton rounds, or some paper towel, whatever happens to be, to make sure that you wipe it off and get the surface nice and clean before you reapply your thermal paste. So the next thing, and I forgot to mention this, I should have been first, the most important thing to have in any computer build is a cup of coffee. And I'm not talking about some Visco Girls, venti, soy milk, fat-free, peppermint mocha latte. I'm talking about black coffee so bitter it would make John Wayne wince. That's what you need to build a computer. You don't need to be getting groggy. Just disgusting, delicious black coffee. All right, and then the next thing, let's see, do I have anything else up here? That's really about it. The next one we'll get into sort of at the end. But those are sort of the tools I think that you should have on hand, ready to go before you build your computer. It'll just make your life easier, again, like I said, in case you make mistakes, or you only have a Phillips head screwdriver and your CPU case has a flat head, or you got a one size Phillips head screwdriver like mine, and you need to install an M.2. This isn't going to screw it in. So make sure you got a variety of tools, some extra backup material. All right, so now we're going to move into the programs. So we've ordered our parts. We've used PC Part Picker, Newegg, whatever it is, to order our parts. We have all of our tools in our table ready. And now we've built the computer. We're going to get it up and running and make sure everything works right. So what do we need to do that? First thing, and I will link to a video here, 2 videos actually, one for how to set up an Intel/NVIDIA computer, and one on how to set up an AMD computer. And those will also be in the description below. But those are going to be kind of the first programs. So these aren't going to be deep dives, but just make sure you're going to Intel or AMD and downloading all your drivers and what have you to get your computer set up and running right. So check those videos out, those 2 videos, to get a little deep dive in how to get those computers up and running without a problem. All right, so now they're all up and running. Windows is updated, everything. No, Windows isn't updated. I was going to touch on that here as well. So along with the Intel and the AMD, I'm not going to touch on this too much. Make sure you have an operating system downloaded to a thumb drive, whatever happens to be. Right here, I recommend, just the Windows 10 media creation tool. Again, I'll try to link that down in the description below. Go check out that video on how to update that, or how to get that USB stick ready. So once your computer's all ready and you're ready to hit, I said ready a whole bunch of times, and you're about to hit that power button, you're actually going to get an operating system. So those 3, I'm not going to harp on too much here. Check the videos out for more on that, but you need those. All right, so you've done that. Computer works. Let's make sure it's running to the specs we want it to run to, or what we expect it to run at. So the first one you're going to download that I would recommend is a simple one here, Cinebench. So this is going to be a CPU test. So call it a benchmark or whatever, but this is going to stress your CPU and give you a score based on that. And the way I think this would help is just to kind of make sure that your CPU is performing to what you expect it to perform to. So you can see other Cinebench scores online. You can review those. And, if you bought a Ryzen 7 3700X, you can be like, all right, man, let's make sure that this thing is running at least close to the specs that other people are getting out of it. And if it's not, then you can maybe jump into the BIOS or whatever happens to be and see what's going on. But Cinebench is a simple one on the Microsoft Store. So you got to go to the Microsoft Store to download this. And that'll help make sure your CPU is running as expected. Another one here I got is IDA64. This is a little more of an intense CPU stress. stress test. And this is more, I would say, in the vein of if you have been watching a lot of Gamers Nexus videos and you're about to overclock the crap out of your computer, even though you don't really even know how to set up a computer yet, use AIDA64. It works well. You can make sure that your overclocks are holding, and just come in here. You can go to their downloads and you can get the AIDA64 tests on here and run those. There's plenty of videos on YouTube on how to set up an AIDA64 stress test, so you can do that. But this is a good software to have to test your CPU. I'll hit on one more just because the CPU is important, but that's going to be Prime 95. Much the same as AIDA64. It's a much more of an intensive stress test for your computer. So again, if you're just going to be putting your CPU in, turning the computer on, and you want to make sure that it's running right, you probably don't need to go the Prime 95 route. Cinebench is all you really need. Or also to sort of test the simple temperatures of your computer and stuff like that. Cinebench is enough to stress that. But Prime 95, again, if you're going to be overclocking, you want to know if you got the best results out of it, then you can download this as well. Just come down here. There you go, all the different versions that you can download. And again, tons of tutorials online on how to set up a Prime 95 stress test. So that's the CPU. You got Cinebench, AIDA64, Prime 95. Now moving into the GPU, your graphics card. I've only pulled 2 up here, and again, there's plenty of others, but the one I recommend the most would just be Heaven's Benchmark. So your Unigen Heaven's Benchmark, and you can just come to this website. All this stuff will be linked down below, and it'll be right here, download. You can also download, Superposition Valley, whatever happens to be. Heaven's Benchmark is the one I use the most, and that'll just be a nice software to sort of get your graphics card running at 99 to 100% utilization, and make sure that it's giving you what you expect it to. Again, you're just wanting to see if you're getting what you expect it, what you're expecting out of that component. So Heaven's Benchmark is a good one. The next one that I'll hit on is going to be Furmark. Much the same as Heaven's Benchmark. It's just a different program, but this will download it. It will stress your your GPU. And then again, the good thing about it is it also has like a history of other graphics cards. You can compare, against other scores to, again, see if you're kind of in line with where you expect to be. So those are 2 good softwares for testing out your GPU. I don't think any of these are necessarily like must-haves. The CPU, you can just as easily put your computer together. If you push the power button and you get a screen and stuff starts working, cool, run with it. But if you want to dig a little bit deeper and make sure that you are where you're supposed to be, that's what these are for. So then next up here, this one is absolutely unessential, I think. But if maybe you put your computer together and you have issues, it's not running the way that you expect it to run, then this is more of a troubleshooting. But have memtest 86. And what this is going to do is it's going to test your RAM. So this is important. Maybe if you bought used RAM, maybe you went on my previous video here of how you should build a computer in 2020, and you maybe went to Mercari.com and bought some used RAM for a good value. This way you can test that the RAM that you purchased is actually fully functioning, because you can put RAM in and it works, but you're maybe not getting full utilization, or it may not be working 100%, and you wouldn't know that unless you ran a test that actually tested, every bit of that RAM. It's a long, painful, brutal test, but if you're unsure, it's a good test to have, give you that nice, warm, fuzzy. So that's the RAM. The last one that we're going to touch on is, again, in the Microsoft Store, and that's going to be your Crystal Disk Mark. And this one is going to test your hard drives. So again, not something you necessarily need, but if you're just curious or you, again, think that there may be an issue or it's running slow or bogged down, whatever it happens to be, you can run Crystal Disk Mark and then validate your scores against other scores of the same component. And that'll help you out in your build. So that's that. And then the last thing that I wanted to touch on, let's see if I can pull it up, is long-term care of your computer. And this one, there's not too much to get into, but the one thing I would recommend you buy is canned air. You know, if you're going to be doing long-term care of your computer, you certainly should have a can of compressed air. You know, every month, whatever happens to be, depending on the climate you live in, you maybe want to pull your computer open, just hit the fans, hit the components with some canned air, knock the dust off, clean out your air filters. That's going to ensure that your computer is running cool and, you know, it's not getting, again, bogged down by the elements. So it's relatively inexpensive, but it is important to have, in my opinion. And then the last one that I was going to touch on as far as stuff to buy, I've already touched on earlier, and that's the thermal paste. So again, if you're going to be doing long-term care of your computer, it's unlikely that you won't ever take it apart. You know, you may not, but, you know, if you're going to be taking your stuff apart and kind of re-putting it back together or whatever happens to be, or maybe you're going to be slowly upgrading over time. Again, it doesn't hurt to have a little bit of extra thermal paste on hand to, again, make sure that, you know, you're getting good applications of that before you reinstall any components. And let's see, that's going to be about it. The other thing, you know, I'm not a big fan of like virus protection or spyware or anything of that sort. So your Windows PC is going to come with Windows, I think it's just, Windows Security, I think is what it's called now. It used to be like Windows Defender. But you're going to come with Windows Security. And that's really all I use on here. And I also am not afraid. So I regularly, probably more often than not, reinstall my Windows. I reinstall my operating systems. So if I am getting whatever kind of issues or anything, I guess. I mean, I probably more than once a year reinstall my operating system. So that's what I do. Windows Defender, I think, you know, antivirus and all that sort of stuff just slows your computer down unnecessarily when there's other ways of going about it. Probably my number one recommendation for long-term care of your computer is stop watching porn and you'll be all right. So no porn means good computer, okay? I would venture to guess probably 99.9% of viruses on computers are from porn. The other 0.01% is because your kids were playing Flash games. So block that crap, stop watching porn, and your computer's fine. Use Windows Defender and you're good to go. So those are my tips, man, on how to keep a computer running, how to prepare for a build. So I hope you guys found this valuable. If there's anything you thought I missed or you'd like to know a little more information about, that's what the comments section is for. And I would love to hear your comments on this. Love interacting with you guys. And please, again, take a second to drop a like, subscribe to the channel. I'd certainly appreciate it. And if you got more money than you know what to do with, please consider becoming a Patreon. I support myself, and that is pricey, so I could use the help. All right, that being said, wish you guys well. God bless.